we're more likely to believe an important local businessman than a foul-mouthed jerk from out of town.
Foul mouth? Fuck you, man.
There it is. Yeah, worsternauts, you are now rocking with the most consent podcast, the most informed consent podcast on the quarantine internet. Yeah, back. The first official Zoom episode of Worst Case ever. Kind of late to the game because everyone else was doing Zoom episodes already
a year ago.
Yeah,
which is why we have to now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, you are now flying Delta Airlines.
Dude, I just saw a commercial for Delta, and I forget what they're fucking. It's like in the air. It's like Delta in the air.
Yeah, some
That's not a good line right now. You should have canceled that ad.
Yeah, you should have just.
The ad should be Delta. Maybe do it next year.
Yeah. Delta, we promise it ain't us. It's not what we did. Yeah, as always, locked in the crib. I am your host, Foul-Mouth Jerk, Falio Iglesias, MC Onion, the Rapscallion, the Archduke Depeche Mode, Von Luftballons, and with me, V is not really with me, as usual, separated out by the magic of the internet.
In spirit.
My man, Adam Strange, Tooth Willis, Whitey Bulger Cam, yeah, and Silvery Plath as well is in another secret location, witness protection, aka Yoni Berra, aka Rhonda Morgan Betts, out here in these streets. Rhonda Morgan, all bets are off. Rhonda. So yeah, we are hoping that you are still rocking with the worst. We're gonna basically figure out if this episode even works or not, because it's experimental, like everything in the Covatron.
Actually, I just saw a news article saying that it might no longer be experimental after this week. Tuesday, they might accept the Pfizer one or some shit. And it will no longer be experimental.
Oh, yeah, I heard by Labor Day. Although I don't think that necessarily makes it no longer experimental.
Yeah, but still no apology for the whole opium thing.
The opium?
From the FDA. When I was looking at the website, I was like, is there an apology for how many dead people from those opiates you said were cool?
Yeah, and
those were FDA approved.
Yeah, nothing.
Yep. And Johnson & Johnson's out here paying off cancer patients at mass numbers, and
their name is funny.
Yeah, Dick and Dick. Like, what?
I love it.
It's like you might like have a pharmaceutical company called Woody Woodpecker.
Double dong.
Names for dicks. Yeah, you get a double dose of this dickin'. Is really the essence of it. It's wild to have one of the companies that's making this vaccine that you're supposed to trust in, while they're paying off a massive class action suit for thousands of women that they gave cancer to knowingly. It's just not a trustworthy thing. But we don't need to go that far down that rabbit hole.
Well, in their defense, it was mostly racist, and it wasn't all women. It was just certain races of women.
True. They just, they only targeted certain specific women.
They didn't want to kill everybody.
In the advertising, they targeted them, but baby powder is Johnson & Johnson baby powder is widespread use.
I put it on my balls often.
When I read the article.
Funny how it doesn't cause testicular cancer.
That is kind of bugged out, right?
Yeah, they're on the outside.
Is that because the balls hang out? Is that a thing?
I think we go to the doctor less, too.
Oh, so we didn't know. Didn't know. Oh, so it's like a rapid COVID testing. Like, who knows if it tests right or not? Nobody really fucking knows.
I love the idea that rapid testing and there's just like a monkey with dice.
Positive. Yeah, it's like the South Park episode about about how Family Guy jokes work. And it's like there's 4 dolphins that knock a soccer ball into a slot. That's kind of how it feels, honestly. It just fucking and I can't go too far that, but like I will say that like the rampantness of Johnson & Johnson baby powder, when I literally I was reading the article originally about the class action suit and the history of it and how far back it goes, and I was in the bathroom and I turned my head and I looked over the shelf and like, it's still right there. Like it was like this bottle of Johnson & Johnson was just staring over my shoulder watching me read the fucking article itself.
I threw it in the trash.
Oh, yeah.
I used your bathroom one time, and I saw it, and I dropped it into the garbage can.
My balls, thank
That's
you.
true. I did.
My balls, thank you. I will tell you that.
One summer of working at a bar doing bouncing, so like sweating my ass off every single day, and the chafing that happened, like I used up all my baby powder and gold bonds and had to go get new stuff, and there wasn't any. This is like probably a decade ago now, but I remember going to CVS and being like, the fuck did baby powder used to be popular? It was everywhere. Now it's not anywhere. And they had like a couple weird ones that were totally not just talc anymore. And that's when I first noticed there was something going on. And then all the commercials started up on like late night BT. They were like, did you use Johnson & Johnson baby powder between an advertisement in Jet magazine? That's
and between the years, like it's wild because it's like between the years of 1954 and 2018, it's like, I don't know, are you a human being alive in the last century? Then you fucking use Johnson & Johnson baby powder. Like Biggie has a fucking line on a song where he says sold more powder than Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
It's like it's possibly my favorite Biggie line ever. I didn't understand the irony, probably nor did he at the time, but that's just how massive of a product it is.
I went to the spice aisle trying to find like another herb or some company that sells like basils and shit. Okay?
Right.
And McCormick, that's the only one you ever heard of. There's not another one. There's a couple of the organic ones that are out there, but I wanted to write a rhyme that was like, between these years, I sold more herb than something and McCormick. But I still have that line waiting because I have nothing for that one blank. Nothing. Also,
it will never resonate as much as Johnson & Johnson. And also what I also learned through that fucking article that I read, well, I read a number of them, but like, first of all, I might be the most ass ignorant person on the show, probably so. But like, I didn't understand that talc was a mineral. And that like talcum powder is called that because it's the powder that comes from this mineral. I also didn't realize, I always thought that asbestos was a man-made fabricated material, and it is not. There's like 6 different minerals that all fall under an umbrella of...
Yep. Apparently it absorbs heat. That's it.
And fire, apparently. Yeah, but, they thought it was worthwhile to put... in fireman clothing and in schools and all that shit, but like that, the whole point of contention is that like talc and several forms of asbestos are minerals that are often found naturally bonded to one another, and somehow a corporation as enormous as Johnson & Johnson couldn't figure out a monetarily satisfactory way to separate the two. Yeah. But like...
Well, did you guys ever try cornstarch?
On the balls?
Yeah.
Well,
I use it in for like a roux,
Correct. I'd be like
thicken up my stew. Or like in a cobbler.
But like, what if you want to thicken up your balls?
That's why I didn't ever use it on that. I was like, there's moisture down there. I know what happens with that stuff. It'll thicken the moisture.
No, I feel like it really...
See, talc is like, I always consider baby powder to be like an oil suspended in a powder. So it's like, it's lubing my balls and my skin so that when the skin and the balls touch, they're just like the lube just gets them.
See, that's interesting
instead of like the friction that burns them.
If we're talking about like ball sweat, I gotta say like baby powder is only effective for the balls and to it's a preventative for chafing. You can't, once you start sweating, you're actually just, it's like water and flour making glue, like sweat and baby powder, not unique to the balls, but like that's just
and now,
basically
and it has that
now you got
and stuff.
sticky
like
balls, like you're making bread down
like,
there, so maybe cornstarch
thinner,
isn't
and it just kind of doesn't necessarily, to me, it doesn't do that, and it doesn't have that smell. Yeah, that's, I mean,
what,
on your
baby powder
balls?
smell?
The freshness.
I like baby powder smell.
Yeah, but other people are. I hope for your sake.
Anywhere I like it, but
like,
not once it
it smells
baby
better
powder,
than
is that really
them.
like the scent
if you're
you want
lucky.
to call to
If you're
mind
lucky.
when you're like in the
It's
ball area, like changing a baby's diaper.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not going to be
okay.
alone down there. You know, like it'll be mixed with other smells from the general zone.
The General Zone. That's actually Adam Strange's new show, alias General Zone.
Now, the thing about shaping too is it's not like it. You never know. Like I don't always have it. I can be hot and walking around and have it, or hot and walking around and not
Wait,
get
you
it.
mean chafing?
Just like shape.
Okay, you said shape. You said shaping.
Chair.
I can't say it right.
Chafing.
Chafing.
Chafe, like you chafe.
Shape.
Chafe Guevara. Adam Strange, aka Chafe Guevara, aka Chevy Chafe.
That's not a good word for that, for what that is. I'm gonna say they need to make a better word for like the little
Really?
burn.
Chafe just sounds to me. That sounds like what it is, like an irritant.
No, I think it sounds
Chafe sounds
like
irritating.
scraping some wood off of something with a piece of metal. You know,
Yeah, that sounds like it would be irritating.
I guess. Yeah, no, it is. It's. I can't say it, so I want a different word.
All right. Well, I just
It's
thought
like
you said shape.
malevolent. It's another. I
Yeah,
can't say that word.
malevolent.
I don't
It can be
understand how
tough.
you
Like
guys are
no,
comparing those words.
rural is tough for a lot of
Chafing.
people. But
Malevolent.
Chafe.
Oh no, it's just me mentally. I don't know why I can't say malevolent. I can't. I don't know what the fuck. Like my brain was just like.
He was like, my balls.
With that.
I was walking through a rural area. And my balls were doing some malevolent chafing. The heat was so malevolent. My balls were shaping.
It was shaping. That's what
No,
I thought.
it sounded like you said shaping, like as if like, because that what I. Yeah, no, that's what I thought he said too, because it just honestly would have made more sense, because that's what I meant about powder only being preventative on sweaty balls. Like you have to put it there beforehand, because once you're sweaty, it just cakes to it. It's like you're creating a mold of your ball. Like you're shaping a facsimile of your balls.
It still lubricates.
A facsimile, if you will. It's just not. It's not a good look, and it wasn't a good look before we found out about the asbestos.
Yeah.
It is not what's good for you.
Now I remember my high school had asbestos, and we had to actually like protest for 2 years for them to take it out. And that's the crazy shit. They're like, yeah, we found out we have asbestos, and that was it. We're like, okay, so now we know that we can get cancer. They're like, yeah. Fuck
Oh,
y'all.
dude.
You were like, hell no,
we had to
won't
leave
go and
classes
shit.
and sit outside for 3 days for them to be like, okay, we'll talk about it now. No, I was like, what? We're leaving class? Fuck asbestos. Let's go outside. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when they're like, why are you outside? We were like, cancer. It's got nothing to do with school
High
stuff.
school kids love a walkout. They love a walkout.
Well, also though,
They're out there smoking.
yeah, exactly. I went to every single protest. I went to every single protest for that reason. Yeah, like it's also like, it's not just the asbestos. Like the asbestos was in the school, it was in the baby powder, but like we're talking about a society that had lead in the gasoline for how many decades? Lead in paint.
It was
in
24 years where they knew how fucked up it was. Like that actually Congress knew. They did a study, they did a big report, and they're
Dude,
like, okay.
I think you guys need to
poisoning
trust
everyone.
science.
And then 24 years.
And because
24 years.
trust the science, bro.
24 years until they made a law that said they'd have to do it in 12 years. is what it was. 'Cause I remember it was half. It's like 24 years. They're like, okay, in 12 years, we're going to do something about poisoning
and think
everyone.
about, right. And so, but think about, so it's 24 years into that 12 years, which makes it 36. But like, how many years were we burning leaded gasoline before they even realized it was fucked
like
up
60.
to do that? So like, you've got like a damn near.
I don't think it took them that long to find out that it was fucked up. I think that in many of these cases, they knew it was fucked up the whole time.
Well,
right.
They don't
actually,
care.
one guy that it was trying to make he was trying to figure out how to do carbon dating, but every time he'd go to do it, everything he was testing was totally covered in lead. And it wasn't until he like made a clean room and then tried to search where the lead was coming from that he discovered that the car exhaust and why it was there in the first place. But it was that was somewhere in like, I want to say the 40s, like mid 40s, that they discovered it. And we're like, oh, what the fuck is this? They're like, oh, there's poison everywhere. We're like, oh, why is it in gas? And they're like, oh, to make engines not knock as much. And they're like, does that matter? Like, no.
So it's like a comfort issue.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear the car knock around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, but
it made gas thin out a little bit, so people that were selling gas were making money because of it, because it was cheaper than gas, and they could
always
thin the gas out some.
Oh, so it's like the
just track
fentanyl
the
of its
dollars.
day.
Yep.
Just track the dollars.
Yeah, it's the fentanyl of its day, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, just cut it with some cheaper shit so we can, you know.
It was the baby laxative.
It was fentanyl-leaded gasoline, yeah. No, except for it was killing us, so it was much more like cutting with fentanyl.
Yeah.
It's true. I was
like
on the
rat
baby
poison.
powder, but it's true.
Oh, man, baby laxative.
It's all poison.
Powder.
It's all poison.
Is there nothing we can't blame on these babies?
But in Johnson & Johnson's statement, they called it shoddy science. We're sorry, it was shoddy science.
They're like, we didn't know that the baby shampoo shouldn't have ground up glass in it.
Yeah.
All ground up glass would clean these babies. It made sense.
No more tears because
Trust us now.
Because we
have
clogged their eyes with
eviscerated
glass.
we've eviscerated their tear ducts with broken glass. That's why there's no more tears. But yeah, no, it sounds pretty
Like
trustworthy.
barbiturates. This will shut the fuck up out of that baby. Like
Oh.
dry blot, Johnson's shampoo.
Thalidomide, huh?
Wear gloves if you've been drinking. And of course, all the parents were drinking in the 50s. They had martinis, babies crying on the floor.
Did they stop?
No. Drinking martinis.
They didn't in the
They
50s.
stopped drinking martinis for a while. But then they were like, we can put apples in these motherfuckers. And they came back, Sex in the City or something. I don't know.
And also, there was the technique of putting whiskey on a baby's gums when it's
Oh, yeah.
teething, make it shut the fuck up. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that was pleasant for the baby. The taste, probably not, but the sensation. But it's,
I
it's
grew
real
up in a-
questionable.
I definitely grew up in a world where every barbecue, there's at least 5 adults that were like, that you knew who to go visit at the barbecue that were like, here, give him some beer. Give him a cup. Here, be a man, boy. And you
Oh, yeah.
get good and drunk. Your mind be like, who's been giving him beer? But like, that was definitely my childhood was like,
I
we're
still
having
have a lot of members of
weekend.
my family that do that.
Yeah, no. I definitely, 4th of July barbecues were definitely an occasion to, like, sneak a few sips. Like, I don't recall ever, like, feeling buzzed, like, as a kid, but, how would I know the difference at this point? You know what I mean?
I had a grandfather that I didn't know very well, but like I went to stay with in the summertime. And at 13, I had a cousin that lived there,
Mhm.
and had been like abandoned by his family and like lived with the grandfather now. He would let us finish whatever he had left in the fridge, and he would tell us, "Hey boys, when I go to bed, that's yours." And there'd be like probably 6 beers left out of a 24 pack.
Like on a night-to-night basis?
Yeah,
Like,
every
how
night.
old? How old were
He
you?
was 99. Okay, I was probably 12 or 13. 99. He'd wake up every day, walk 3 miles to a general store that he worked at for his pay, a pack of cigarettes, and a case of beer. Come home with his 24 pack and drink it until there was like 6 left.
And
then
he walked home with a fucking case
Yeah, it's like a
and some filterless Pall Malls.
Yeah.
That's how he lived so
Lucky Strikes.
long.
Yeah.
I definitely guarantee you that's how he lived so long.
Yeah.
Every single time that you read an article about anyone like, oh, world's oldest man or woman, like, how did you live to 124? And they're like, I take 1 slice of Texas toast, I fry it in fatback, and I drink that I eat that while I drink a pint of wild Irish rose and smoke an entire pack of Merits in one sitting.
And it's genetics. I mean, straight up, it's got to be when they, they're like, well, other people had that same diet and they fucking died because they had different genetics.
Some people
don't get sick like other people get sick.
Yeah, that's become evident. This episode brought to you by the Delta variant.
That's the thing. When you get
fly Delta Airlines, you are now flying with the worst.
Do positive tests tell people what their variant is?
They do not.
No.
Okay, they find that out. Actually, Chief Health Correspondent Silvery Plath, do you want to explain to the listeners how they find out about variants now?
I feel that was an oversell because my understanding isn't super technical, but basically what it is that they do the testing across the board. So when you go in and do your test, it's a positive or a negative, and then they take sampling of like groups of tests over time, like in a specific area when it starts to seem like the numbers are drastically increasing, and then they do an aggregate, like they do a statistical aggregate of what they would imagine extrapolating that number, like, okay, then it must mean this. So if we see it replicating or, being this contagious all of a sudden, or all of us, this area has 10 times as many cases, then we're going to take a group of sampling from this one, and then we'll nail it down and say, oh, if these came up positive for the Delta, then we will make an aggregate and assume that means this many of the numbers of this area is what it is. And so like they are testing for it, but it's only like in specific areas, and it's like groups of samples at once, and then equations to determine like how many they feel it was, or how fast it's contagious, or if it's worse or not. Except that I don't know about you guys, everything I'm reading is that just changes so rapidly, right?
Yeah.
There's this like super hyper fascination about like whether or not the people that are undergoing certain types of symptoms are vaccinated or not, or XYZ, and breakthrough cases are rare, and as we know, they're clearly not. Perhaps hospitalizations and deaths, but honestly, deaths are really rare with this, despite how much they're saying it's so much more intense and so much worse. But if you just look at the death numbers, I mean, they're drastically lower, and I don't think that you can necessarily just attribute that to the number of vaccinated people, because it doesn't work out, like if you do that math. So it's interesting. Like I think the Delta variant, while it does seem highly contagious, and it definitely causing a lot of like symptoms in people that are testing positive despite being vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has the same, like this
lethality
fear of this is what it's now doing. I mean, I hear a lot of things, but when I try to follow up and actually find the specific numbers or cases, I'm not finding them there. It feels like a lot of just sort of stories or anecdotes or urban legend, or, just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, everything that I've read, it's like it's far more contagious, but it's not been proven to be more deadly. But also like, and I'm going to source this one right here. At the beginning of the pandemic, I watched that program, Vox Explained, which I was watching that a lot anyway. I don't know that it's a reputable journal of science, but they were basically explaining how diseases, epidemics, and pandemics work and all that, and that there is a relationship between like how there's kind of like they graph it on vector lines, right? So like it's contagiousness versus lethality will determine how widespread any disease really becomes, right? Because if something is too deadly, like say, you remember like a few years ago, Ebola, which is a terribly, terribly terrifying disease. But it is such because it's so fucking deadly and kills so rapidly that it generally doesn't spread too fast, because one of two things will happen. Either it will kill the entire group of people that is now infected before any of them encounter other people, Or by the time someone who's infected does encounter another group of people, they are so visibly like Ebola, you're like bleeding out of your eyeballs and your ear holes and shit. It literally liquefies your organs, right? So if people who aren't infected see someone that has been infected for more than a day or so, they're like, oh shit, quarantine that motherfucker. You know what I mean? So either it kills everybody way too fast, or the symptoms are very evident to others so fast that they become forced quarantine, right? So that was just the example that they used. Whereas like other things that are very contagious but less lethal, which is what we've been dealing with COVID, which is that it kills specific groups generally in big numbers, like people that are immune compromised or of a certain age or obesity or things of that nature. But that it's very contagious and kind of hides out in like, because some people don't get it at all, or some people remain asymptomatic when they have it, or other people experience it as the flu, and other people it's extremely lethal for them. You know what I mean? So they were explaining that is the kind of vector line relationship between like how contagious something is versus how deadly will dictate how far that it spreads and how therefore dangerous it can be. Dude, check out the big brain on Falio. Come on.
I just read this thing about how like there's the 3 versions of Delta now, and there might be more, which I don't even really begin to understand.
There's Delta, American Airlines, and Pan Am.
And
that,
what
I heard.
Somehow that
Panera Bread.
This doctor with the article was hoping for that if there was one version of it that came out that didn't kill people but was highly contagious, that might be one of the best things that could happen, because it would produce tons of antibodies without fatalities.
Right.
But then this whole long COVID thing comes in, which is like, what if you develop symptoms in 5 years? You know?
Yeah.
I just got a those that are
you just got upgraded?
No, I just got a thing saying that until I upgrade, I'm going to I only have a 45-minute limit to my
Oh shit! Well, we get cut off short. We tried to warn you that we're educating the people about the Delta variant, and the minute we started talking talk, all of a sudden Zoom's fitting to fucking replace us with some fucking, I don't know, COVID deniers or Anthony Fauci fucking routine. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how they're taking this episode, but I'm just letting you know now.
Hey, have you seen the thing that Apple just put out?
You know what's up.
I don't know if this is real. It's just beginning articles, might be some bullshit, but like that Apple is going to begin scanning people's photo albums and iCloud for child abuse.
Oh, well, what's really weird is I mean, this is not Apple specifically, obviously, but I posted a photo on a story on Instagram one time of my friend's son in a bathing suit sitting making a sandcastle. Like, it was in no way it wasn't even a naked baby or anything. I mean, he's fully in this like bathing suit, and they flagged it.
It wasn't suggested.
Moved it, and they.
Was he a little shredded? Was he kind of like Rip Shred or?
Gross, bro.
I'm getting us kicked off of fucking Zoom now for sure.
That's really intense. I mean, yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, I guess.
Like, yeah, I'm against child abuse, but I am scanning photos is just
absolutely. Yo, like, and also
like what other? I mean, like, you're gonna be like, well, there's a double homicide, but I don't need kids, so let's keep moving. So
I know, like, how many?
And if now you're doing that, then you might as well get any photograph of fucking weed in a state where it's not legal, and go ahead and call the cops on them too, Apple.
No, and this is disingenuous as fuck to me, because and Silver, you give me your opinion on this, but like, you were the one that educated me, and I believe Adam Strange as well, about how, like, you talked about it on this show for months about how Pornhub was well aware that a lot of the stuff they were showing was sex trafficking, pedophilia shit, and they were just making and so much questionable, if not straight up illegal sex crime material, but they did not take any of it down for years. And then because they were making too much advertising dollars off of it. And so when they finally did get backed into a corner and forced to take down what was suspected material, it was something like 80% of all of their content. And like, I trusted that you were, when you said like it was rampant, I was like, okay, that's crazy. And actually quit looking at the site altogether. I boycotted it because, you know, worst case really educates people. But I took you at your word that it was like, it was a lot of it there and rampant. But when I saw the statistics and it was over 80% of the material, okay, so I just find it, they let that go on for years. But suddenly the reason Apple needs to rifle through your personal fucking pictures on your phone is because they're so goddamn concerned about child abuse and whatever else is going on. I do not buy that. And
how much child abuse happens that gets reported and nothing fucking happens anymore?
Nothing
already.
happens.
When like if they have resources, let's help the children that we know are in need instead of like just flushing them as well.
It's definitely stripping our rights and our privacy in the name of safety. That's false. I mean, that's what they use the fear since the beginning of time to find ways to control us and go through our things and take away privacy since forever. And I think that, coming back to like children over and over, it's the one place they back you into the corner where there's not a whole lot to say because nobody wants to say, I don't want to protect children. But we know that's not.
And I've got at least one or two pictures of my kid in the bathtub. Not a lot of them, but like, she will make a hat out of bubbles and be like, I need a picture of this now, Daddy. Go get your phone. You know, like that's a thing. And like, I don't know if I want to keep those in my fucking phone now. It's an Apple.
I definitely, in fairness, I definitely would.
At them. I don't want them looking at my kids' photographs in my phone. You know, that's fucking weird. That's when it becomes illegal. Like, if me having it is fine. It's somebody else fucking looking at it that did not get permission from me.
No, this is
paying to hold it for me.
This is dead ass the same fucking process by which, they're prosecuting kids for sending nudes to one another, like a dude sending a dick pic to his girlfriend, or a 16-year-old girl sending her boobs to her fucking 16-year-old boyfriend, and then under the guise of like, oh, we have to protect them under kiddie porn laws, but the kids are actually the ones being prosecuted for taking pictures of their own junk and whatever. And this is exactly why, like, obviously no one here is standing for or defending pedophilia, but it's the exact reason why the ACLU takes certain cases involving new laws regarding pedophilia, if you will. You know what I mean? Because there are certain agendas that they know that no one's ever going to stand up for, like, oh, we got to prosecute pedophiles. Well, of course, everyone believes in that. But it sets certain precedents. Well, if you can do that to pedophiles, then you can do that to other people. You know what I mean? And that's why the ACLU takes those cases, just because they're like, that's slippery slope shit, And it's honestly what you were saying earlier, Silvery, is that, like, it's like the Maud Flanders defense. Like, you can get away with anything as long as you act like you're protecting children to do it. You know what I mean? You can violate anyone's privacy or civil rights as long as you're like, yeah, it's because we got to protect children from pedophiles. Essentially.
Plus, isn't Apple the one that, inhibited Facebook's ability to do that through their device and kind of touted themselves as being the most, like, protect your privacy, protect your,
But that was for profit, and that's the only difference. Like, there's no profit. Like, honestly, this was going to lose them profit. This is going to lose them customers. I don't see anybody, like, getting an iPhone because of this. Like, Facebook, what they were doing was to sell that data. And, like, Apple's not going to be, like, selling the data of who's abusing kids,
So what do you think the benefit is for them then? If it's not really protecting kids and they're not going to make any monetary gain? They
might think they're protecting kids. I mean, and in the end, it probably will save some kids, I mean, it'll definitely catch some pedophiles, if they're reporting people with naked kid pictures in their phone. And
then they can, like, hand it over to the feds. Like, that would be the agreement then.
I don't know.
Right, but that's also an odd stance for them to take because Apple is the company that fought the FBI about handing over passwords and all that shit for mass shootings and whatnot.
But that's the thing is, I don't think they do. They're not going to give the FBI the info. Probably they tell the FBI like, "Hey, here's where that guy lives."
Ooh, who the fuck are they giving it to then?
Or whoever, the FBI, but not. They're not going to be like, "Here's what we found in their phone," probably, until it's like a court case. I think they would be like, "Hey, this guy, go there." Go check them kids out, and then
you can't do that without evidence, though.
And then the system would be like, well, we're already overwhelmed. Well, I mean, you can call anybody right now, and you can call cops and be like, hey, this house, they're abusing the kids. Now they have to go to that house. You know, there's a commercial right now for like the new Venus and Serena movie, where it's like Will Smith comes home and the cops are at his house, like, what do you mean I'm hard on my kids? You're of course I am. That's how you make good kids. You haven't seen that ad yet?
No, I have not.
There's an ad. I don't. Venus and Serena movie where a cop is at the dad's house and the dad comes home. And
wait, is Will Smith playing the father of
my children? Of course,
he said hard on.
We're gonna get flagged.
No, now we're fucking. Thanks, Zoom.
You guys better not be on Max.
Is playing Mr. Williams.
He's playing the father of the Williams sisters.
It seems like it's a movie about him more than the girls.
I don't think he would have done it otherwise.
No.
Oh, right. Yeah. Will Smith is not going to be like...
He's like, I can see he was like, look, I was Ali. I can be Venus Williams.
No, yeah.
I can do this. I am the best actor of my generation.
No, he definitely was going to...
I'm the dad.
He would have played Serena, for sure.
I have a wide range.
Yeah. One thing you will never hear is... and the winner for Best Supporting Actor is Will Smith. He would definitely play Serena Williams. He would play the shark from Jaws. Like he will go as long as like it's front and center. Like I think that if he got cast in Jaws, originally he would not have been Roy Scheider. He would have been like, no, I'm the shark, bro.
I just saw a thing where, James Gunn came out in defense of streaming, being like, because everybody's saying this streaming versus theaters or whatever right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying like, look, man, I love Jaws. Favorite movie. Never saw it in the theater. Seen it 1,000 times. Not
I
once
bet he
have I
was
seen
probably
it in
too
theater.
young to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
How old is he? How old is James Gunn? I bet he's younger than 40.
I saw the Suicide Squad. You see that movie just came out?
The new one?
Came out Thursday? One? Yeah.
That shit is ass. Up and down ass.
You know,
I didn't watch it yet.
I thought it was great.
Dude, I was so bummed that Idris Elba would be. For the first few minutes are really funny, and I was like, okay, they're gonna go this direction with it. I thought
say the spoiling that would just spoil everything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. But it is funny for a few minutes. But about 15 minutes in, it becomes a hot, steaming pile of fucking garbage fire. I wasn't.
I would eat those dicks for liberty.
Yeah, that is.
If you covered this beach with dicks, you said I had to eat them for liberty. I'd eat every one of those dicks. Why would they cover a beach with dicks? I don't know, but I'd eat them.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's great. There's stuff blowing up. There's people running around. There's colors. And they're flashing and stuff. People are jumping.
Look, I'm not
telling at Beach of Dicks, bro.
Yeah, I know. You fucking with it. You do things for liberty. That's true. You are the Liberty Guns.
No, I do want to. I'm going to watch that show that John Cena's making. That basically John Cena has a TV show coming on HBO Max about a character from that movie.
Oh, he's doing a spinoff or whatever?
Yeah.
I find him hilarious.
I do like John Cena. It was a corny character though, kind of really, I think, but he was supposed to be. And
it is. They all are.
Yeah, well, except for Idris Elba, because you can't unsexify that man.
No.
It's true.
Especially when they just let his his beard, like the real silver, come out, and he's salt and pepper Idris Elba. He's like, this is problematic. You distinguished now. Like, he was always smooth, brother, distinguished, but yeah.
Hey, you made fun of me for liking Hobbs and Shaw, but I only liked it because he was the Black Superman.
Wait, what? Idris Elba is in Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah, he's the bad guy. Yeah, he's like genetically enhanced, so he can jump farther than other people or something, or punch better. Like he can,
which is weird because he's in a movie with the
kick.
Right, with The Rock.
Yeah.
Like that is an odd fucking choice. But
he calls himself Black Superman. That's why I say it. I didn't just think it up. Like they keep saying it in the movie. Yeah.
And Shaq does not have anything to say about that.
I'm sure he was like, I could have done that role better. I can't do the Shaq voice.
No, and I'm glad that you can. I'm glad that you can. It's like not even
still be woke.
Yeah, no.
Trump got real mad about the Olympics being woke.
Oh, like,
they're woke over there.
I did see something about that. I didn't read the article. They were like mad that what's her name, Rapione or whatever, like took a knee. Rapinoe, is that how you say it?
I think it's Rapinoe.
But she's the soccer player who was allowed to advertise CBD. Meanwhile, the fastest woman on earth doesn't get to be in the Olympics because she fucking hit a joint or something. And not even in a race. Yeah, all that shit. Like, first of all, they talking about like all the woke shit. Like, before we even get into the subject matter of that, the internet really has proven to be just a vessel through which white people ruin black slang at a lightning fast rate. Mm. Like, you know how like all throughout our upbringing, like 80s, 90s, all that shit, pre-internet, it took the mainstream of square, corny white people a decade or two to get up on certain, black slang, and even when they first were hearing it and getting up on it, they found it terrifying. And only after it was old as fuck, you would hear it in like white TV shows, like it was funny and edgy. But like now, the way the internet works is it just allows white people to acquire and cornify black slang at just breakneck speed. And so like the fact that when you hear terms like woke being said on NBC News, and also just by like Donald
Congress,
Trump,
fucking Mike Milley being like, those who would accuse the military of being woke. Mm-hmm. Just like, what? Yeah.
It's just, and so, but yeah, hearing all of them worry about what's woke, what's not woke, what do they call it? Woke capitalism now about the fucking.
What did Trump say about it? I'm just curious.
Something about the Olympians being sad, and that athletes are so woke. And I read it and I kept it, but I don't know where I was with it. And then Megan Rapinoe just like clapping back at him.
And she's queer, so like there's some merit in some shit, but it's also like, dude, like John Carlos and Muhammad Ali, and like there's a history there. Like everyone.
I think her tweet was something about like, don't forget, Al Gore lost by 700, or Al Gore won the election by 700 votes. Hillary Clinton lost by 70,000 votes, or something. Trump lost by 7 million. Or somehow, like, basically, just like pushed in his face, like, motherfucker, you lost hard.
Well, that's also good just because it really turns the knife in his sense of popularity and his ego and shit. That's all he really gives a fuck about. Anyway.
Mr. Pillow fucking had an ad on Fox. He's one of Fox's actually biggest advertisement at the time.
Yeah,
right
for
now.
Sure. For sure.
Most people only sprinkle a little bit. Like all the car companies still advertise on Fox, but just a little bit. He does a lot. He had an ad for his new cyber conference where he's going to give out all the new information about how Chinese thermostats had something to do with the election.
Oh, I heard I saw a headline about that, but it didn't.
But he basically had this new theory, and he has this new cyber convention that's going to happen, and it was going to be on Fox. But in the ad, it said, with proof that the election was stolen. And Fox was like, nope. That one violates our new rules. And he was like, oh, you're not going to play that one ad? And like, yeah, he's like, all my ads are gone. And then Tucker Carlson was like, oh shit, that's my, oh fuck. So Tucker Carlson show basically has 3/4 of their ads now are just for other Fox shows. When Tucker Carlson's on, all the ads are just for shows on the network.
That's interesting because I can't be making them really any money. That's like stealing from Peter to pay Paul, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Unless
it's in hopes that he doesn't say anything stupid soon, so eventually they'll come back. That's what happens. He says something dumb, everybody runs. About 3 months later, they start coming back in. Yeah.
You talking about Tucker or the pillow guy?
Tucker.
Because both of them say dumb shit constantly.
No, but I mean, Tucker gets his boycotts every 3 or 4 months. Yeah.
Specifically from advertisers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's really been on it.
Yeah, no, he has. He's been quiet lately, though. The thing is, like, with Rona, with the election, he's got this big list of shit he can't really talk about. So first it was critical race theory. That's been his ongoing, like, they're trying to make our children feel bad about themselves, which is nothing, whatever. It's kind of like their whole trying to make a new boogeyman that doesn't exist because there's nothing to talk about right now. Or for a minute, he was saying that they were going to take away hamburgers and we weren't going to be allowed to have beef because of the infrastructure bill. I don't know. That was a thing because I don't even know. And then it's this now critical race theory is they're being forced into all our schools, even though it really isn't.
Hardly.
And in retaliation for teaching it, now there's all these new bills saying that they can't actually teach anything that would make a person. I forget how they worded it in Texas. It's like the Texas social studies law is like, if it'll make anybody feel bad about themselves. And I was just like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, you should feel bad about yourself every now and then, like.
Yeah, especially if you've, caused mass genocide and the enslavement of other people and that you continue to partake in a system that you benefit off of. I mean, it's an interesting thing because I read some of the law and I think that I felt confused about what level of it could be interpreted by the people that are teaching and how much of it is stringent law forbidding certain type of teaching.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand as much like whether it was like a leeway that we don't need to teach these essential parts of history that obviously should be taught, or you may not teach. Because the way that I was seeing it was through the filter of a lot of people making memes or writing quotes or comments or, and I didn't actually get down to like, which one is it? I mean, not ultimately that it's that big of a difference, but it just still is quite a nuance.
In Texas, there's like a list of actual things that you can't bring up. Like Thomas Jefferson having intercourse with a slave is not allowed to be talked about in Texas. And you're encouraged. So it's
not an option.
No. And you're encouraged to videotape your teacher to have proof if they start doing it.
No way.
Even and it's protected in places where it's not allowed to you're not allowed to have a phone in class. Like if the rules of the school says you're not allowed to tape video in class, the Texas bill would wipe that away and say that if your teacher was teaching that Thomas Jefferson had sex with slaves, then you're supposed to get a recording of it so you can get that teacher fired. Because they're not allowed to teach that. Which is insane because Thomas Jefferson raped his fucking slaves.
Absolutely.
It's very well documented.
I had no idea it was that to that extent.
And worse. There's like a whole list of like things you're not allowed to bring up in the classroom because it'll make someone feel bad about their heritage, which is fucking insane. Because really, like that's the thing of like admitting that it happened, is a big part of moving past it. And it will eventually come down to the fact that, we're probably going to have to edit the Constitution a little bit. But that's the thing is we're not going to have the big conversation, I think. We're just going to, it's just, kicking the ball down the hallway. Now, I did just hear that Madison Crawfish was in Asheville.
Oh, yeah.
Totally in the airport.
To fucking come to the our school board meeting to tell our school board that they're all horrible, horrible child abusers because children might have to wear masks in the county.
And then he tried to leave and the TSA stopped him because he had a gun in his bag.
Was that just now?
In the airport.
Was this? Oh, I thought that was from the previous. I didn't know that was leaving the school board meeting.
It was in Asheville. I knew that part.
Yeah. But also, I was just curious, like, if he thought that because he's a congressman that he could get away with it, or also the handicap thing.
If you have a wheelchair, you just think, fuck it, I'm putting a gun in here. What are they gonna do?
But also, let's be clear though, he was not all the way wrong because he didn't actually get charged. He got caught with the gun.
He got fined.
Did he get fined eventually?
He got fined and he got stripped of his TSA special privileges, whatever that is, which does come with being a congressman, that you have your TSA, special thing that you fly through or whatever
so
the people do.
So if you run for Congress, it might make it easy for you to move cocaine around. If you're in the market of moving cocaine around, you should run for Congress.
For sure.
But number one, you have the money to fucking buy the ads. Be like, hey, vote for Steve. Boom. That could have been what happened in the 70s for all we know. And half of these motherfuckers, we don't know what Pelosi's doing. She could have been running blow that whole time.
He said he forgot it was in his bag. I love that. Like, you just accidentally threw a gun in your bag and spaced it. Or it's in there from your last trip.
Do you think kickback, if you're in a wheelchair and you shoot a big gun, that you have to, like, put the brakes on first? Or, like, look at you backwards? I don't have wheels, so I would never thought about that. But I had to brace myself.
Well, it was a 9mm, so no, it's not going to do like that. But that point aside, so what he claimed, Silvery, was that that gun, quote unquote, doubles as his range bag. So, like, he just didn't notice that there was a gun in it. And it's like, okay, A, you're trusted with leadership as a lawmaker, and you don't even have a thorough, comprehensive idea of, like, oh, this is where I keep my guns. I should probably make sure there's no guns in the bag before I go to, that's negligence on a pretty high level.
It's not like he can do anything in the house.
Then also, like, just
in the minority.
You just got guns nimbly-bimbly, just willy-nilly all over the place. Like, I have so, like, essentially the defense is like, I just have so many guns.
Yeah, I honestly think that
they're just everywhere.
There's somebody that's probably from Harvard that was sitting in a room and was like, I have an idea. Right before he goes in the airplane, can we put a gun in his stuff? And can we get like 3 or 4 reporters to be there waiting? So we can have him talking about guns? Because everybody seems to hate him, but if we can get him to be him and guns instead of him and Hitler's house and him and sexual harassment, this could change our internet search history to him and guns. And what's the worst that could happen? A small fine? Let's do this. Like, it could have been planned.
Wait, what does Harvard have to do with it?
Oh, the people that have the idea to put the gun in his bag so that the press can get a hold of it had gone to Harvard. I'm saying the people that gave him the political ideas, the people the GOP hired to keep
So these are Harvard righties or Harvard left?
Yeah, no, whatever. They're Harvard money. Cambridge Analytica don't give a fuck who the money came from. The money's green.
Now we're getting some places.
I just said Harvard because that's where it's in Cambridge, and I was trying to link to Cambridge Analytica.
I see. No, I see what you did there. Honestly, you fucked me up because I thought I had an argument, but I was like, wait, is Cambridge Analytica about Boston and Harvard and all that?
They weren't. No, they just picked that name. They were like, that sounds smart.
It does sound smart.
I forget the other. There was another word they were going to use.
It's the reason everybody's got
like
British
Oxford.
accents on.
Oxford was going to be in there, one of their words, and they chose Cambridge instead.
Silver, can you do that pose again on Zoom? The guns are looking strong out here. Those shoulders, like, getting cut. How you getting so cut in quarantine? You doing a lot of sideshow Bob push-ups. Like, your shit is like getting a lot realer than mine. I've not really made a lot of forward strides in my quarantining. I'm like 2 days before I can get the fuck out of this booth. So we got to be getting close here. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm in space.
You guys are fucking missing out for that. You're only hearing this, hopefully, that you're hearing this at all. But Adam Strange is in fucking outer space on Zoom right now. That shit is fucking dope.
Yeah.
So we got to be getting close to the end. I don't know how many minutes we got left because even Zoom has threatened to kick us off early. But I just want to put some kind of good news in here, which is that from what I read, Long Beach, Long Island is renaming the block that MF Doom grew up on with his brother Sub Rock. It's going to be called KMD MF Doom Way.
Wow.
So that's super fucking rad as far as I'm concerned.
Say KMF.
KMD MF Doomway.
Yeah, KMD.
And for anyone that does not know,
Yeah.
KMD was the name of, before MF Doom was known as the solo rapper MF Doom, he was known as Zev Love X, which he was a member of a group called KMD, which stood for Cause Much Damage, which was short for a positive cause in a much damaged society, which is my favorite shit ever. That someone would shrink down a name that big into 3 little letters. But it was him and his twin brother, DJ Subrock, and another guy, MC Onyx. And his twin brother was hit by a car and passed away. And that's more or less the short version of the story. That's basically how KMD ended, because things got real dark and fucked up for Zev Love X, and they got dropped from the label, and he disappeared for, I don't know, at least 5 years or so, until he resurfaced on the sneak as MF Doom with the album Operation Doomsday, and then became like the person that, you know, anybody with any soul or culture whatsoever knows, like, oh yeah, MF Doom, he's the shit. You know what I mean?
And he was on the Gas Face.
Yes, and when he was Zev Love X. So yeah, his actual like major label debut was the Gas Face from Third Base. So anyway, but he is from Long Island, and the town in Long Island that he was from decided to name the stretch of his block that he grew up on that road, to rename it KMD MF Doom Way. And I think it's rad for obvious reasons, but extra much points that it's not just MF Doom Way, it's KMD MF Doom Way, because that's given the love to his brother who passed away early as well. And I just think that's, you know, I didn't know the man or whatever. I've just been a fan since, I mean, honestly, Gas Face came out, I think, when I was 12, and I used to bump that shit religiously. I was in like the 7th grade. So I've been a fan of Zev Love X since. Doomale, all of it, and you know, and I know the whole story of how they got dropped from the label, and his brother dying and all that stuff. So like, I would just imagine that he would be a lot happier with it, essentially shouting out his brother as well, you know. So that's pretty fucking awesome.
Did you know that the Dungeon family house that contains the dungeon is sometimes available on Airbnb in Atlanta?
Whoa.
Big Boy bought the house, and he put it on Airbnb for a charity, so every now and then, but the whole house is decorated in like all Dungeon Family Outcast shit, you know, like he decorated the inside, posters and reproductions of plaques, and then he built like they finished the basement nicely and built a big fat studio. So, and you can just rent it.
Oh, wait, they built a real studio in the dungeon?
Not full blown, but, you know, like nowadays style, like a DAW studio. There's a computer and some mics and some keyboards and MPCs and shit and SPs. So you can like, rent the place, go make a beat and rap in the dungeon, record in a booth, and then have your song.
How much do you have to pay for that? Like, it should be like a disproportionate amount.
Right now, it's not much. It was pretty cheap because it's all for some charity in Atlanta. But apparently it's going to go on the market for like $100, $200. So I don't think it's in a nice neighborhood, you know.
I mean, one would imagine. Yeah. I mean, the dungeon, by all reports and video I've seen, it's like it was.
I mean, the irony would be like you would think it would be more expensive because it's for charity, not less expensive.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But yeah, it was like it wasn't much for the charitable thing. It was like $40 a night. Crazy.
Wow.
Because I'd do it just to go. I'd spend that a night just to drive there and look around for 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
In the dungeon, take some photos and then leave.
Honestly, just hang out and smoke some weed in the dungeon. Like,
there's probably a rule against that because it's Airbnb. But it's Big Boy that owns it, so I can't imagine he's like,
who are you?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's Airbnb, they got rules. I stayed at a 420, me and Mike, we stayed at a 420 bed and breakfast.
Oh yeah, we
Airbnb
did.
That was...
How dare you use my government name?
No, you had to go. I said I meant microphone. Pointing at my microphone. I bring my microphone when I travel.
We did say that fucking that Denver Airbnb, Joan.
But you couldn't smoke weed in your room. You had to go to the room.
The common
How many
area.
hotel rooms have you stayed in your life? I'm so confused here.
Yeah, they're kind of all 420 as long as you're not Josh Blake.
Yeah.
That motherfucker gets arrested for weed everywhere he goes. Even on stage one time. Ooh, there goes those guns again. Yeah.
Stop.
I like the Zoom. I don't know. I kind of sold on Zoom episodes. I hope the audio for this works out because, like, I'm with it. You don't even know, like, what my gallery view is right now. So, like, I could be looking at all kinds of shit.
Yeah. The thing is, I guess, like you were saying, when the pandemic first started, a lot of podcasts became this right away. And that looking at it reminded me of that entirely because they would put them on YouTube like this, where you'd see the people.
Yeah.
Also, how do I fucking change my background? You get to be in outer space?
Under Zoom.
No, I tried, and mine only has blurry irregular.
Well, you don't have space under there? Mine had space under there. If you click the ones that say download, they download quick. This one was already there, though. It's under Zoom.us, preferences, settings, and there's filters in there, too. There's like a tab for filters that'll give you the, like...
virtual background? Virtual background. I'm in the bay now. What's up? Well, my computer doesn't meet the requirements. That shit's trash. I never should have upgraded.
Did you download Zoom into your computer? Or are you through your browser?
Probably through my browser.
In the future, you should probably get it just because it'll be better.
So your hair looks really good on Zoom. What is
this can't be the best.
It's my filter. It's my good hairstyle filter.
I don't know. You got a real ScarJo Black Widow situation going on, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm cool with this.
Oh, what? We got a fucking unicorn thing going on?
No, I thought it was a dong, right? It's a rainbow dong. No, it's a unicorn.
Ice cream dong.
He's a unicorn.
But it works even better because you're in outer space. You're a fucking space brony.
Yeah.
Unibrony.
That's how you know I'm woke.
Oh,
the rainbow dong on my head.
So you're about to win the Olympics, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Real quick, I don't know how much time we have, but can we talk about the boundless irony that President Joe Malarkey Teeth stepped to fucking Andrew Cuomo was like, yo, you gotta go. You've been creepy touching ladies.
Yeah, but it's different.
Look, no, I'm not saying
it's different.
That Cuomo doesn't gots to go, because he does gots to go. But the irony of President Creepy Touch being like, yo, you can't creepy touch girls, yo. Like that's ridiculous. Well, it's just ironic. I'm not saying it's untrue, but it's like Godzilla stepping to King Kong like, yo, you can't keep crushing these buildings, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta knock that off. Like, come on, Godzilla. Like, yo, Godzuki, you can't do that anymore. Like, fuck, you talk about woke shit. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like, I can't believe that Cuomo's still in office and that there's not a machine that can just get him out. Like, I know the impeachment's already begun. The
machine is
actual
there's a machine. It's what keeps him in.
Yeah, but there should be both. There should be a machine that ejects too, you know?
Dude, I'm honestly...
there was an investigation. And when it first happened, everybody's like, well, let's wait for the investigation. Okay, investigation came back. Fuck him. Let's fucking throw him away. I think they should fire Chris Cuomo just to fucking be sure about it all.
That's interesting. He's definitely on some goonery too, but I'm so mad that the people can't see you wearing the Minnie Mouse Tupac rag right now. That is so...
It is so good.
That is the most woke shit I've ever seen in my life, especially because for once you properly shaved your head right and now you're going to wear the Minnie Mouse Pac rag. I'm so happy right now that no... Oh, why'd you take it off?
I don't know.
Oh, now you got...
Butterfly face, alien.
Yeah.
Yo, you went from fucking... Oh, my God. So many things are happening right now.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with these.
All right, that being said, sacre bleu.
No, I'm a guardian angel. I'm on a subway in New York and bust your ass.
Adam Sliwa.
No, you got a gun on you. Yeah, no, guardian angels are funny. They should get a movie one day.
No, there's definitely going to be one. Some of them are already famous, though. But, all right, that being said, though, like, yeah, like, Cuomo's got to go. He definitely has been on some bully, goonery bullshit for, his entire career. And he even, like, he appointed Letitia James to head. Yo, stop changing your visuals because I can't talk about shit with you. Yo, I love you, teeny hat. No, he appointed Letitia James only because the person he tried to appoint, who was his main goon, Damie,
like he knew he felt her up last month. Like, I was gonna put Marcia in charge, but I grabbed her ass last week. Letitia, I don't think I've ever grabbed her ass because I'm racist.
You're right, but no, he only put her in charge because it was demanded as such, and then later tried to, be like, oh, she's only doing this at the behest of Preet Bharara so he can fucking run for office and all this shit. But that being said, one of the creepier things that I heard that he had done was one of the women that he sexually harassed was, I believe it was a New York State trooper that was more or less a rookie, had like maybe 2 years on the job. And I think that if I understand the story correctly, that's not necessarily what we do here on Worst Case, but my understanding of the story is they were, moving through. He saw a certain female trooper that was working security in maybe a bridge they were driving through or wherever the fuck they were moving through. He inquired about who it was, basically got her promoted through the ranks so that she could work on his security detail, specifically so that he could sexually harass her. Yeah. That is, and mind you, the reason I bring up the fact that she was, like a 1 or 2 year rookie or whatever, is because a person at her level of history in a job, you're not allowed to work as the governor's security with like just 2 years in or whatever. You know what I mean? So he got exceptions made for this woman to be in his presence on his security detail just so that he could sexually harass her. That's some fucking long range fucking harassment.
Yeah, which means that there's, for her, there's probably like 12 more that he tried. You know what I'm saying? Like every woman he sees in a day, he probably keeps a list of like, promote her.
No, if you went that far,
DMV when my next license.
Yeah.
Hey, no, that girl I saw in front of the bakery, I want her working in the bakery. I go to that bakery.
No, that's exactly my point. Is like, yo, if he's reaching down deep of like, yo, I saw this person at this random place in time, and I feel like I have the type of control of the universe to move that human being like a chess piece into this other job in their life, this other position, just so that I can fuck around and try to fuck that person. Like, you're already so drunk off of power and so just...
Well, see, he's
going
not the
off
first,
your own shit.
He's not the first Cuomo, right? Aren't they like a dynasty in that motherfucker?
Mario was the governor of New York all of my youth.
And that's why...
When I was in elementary school, Mario Cuomo was the governor of New York.
So and that's the thing.
As their father. Chris and Andrew's father.
He thinks he proclaims that he did nothing wrong because he's a fucking piece of shit that has been given everything he's wanted his whole life. And so the one time he's told something, like he did something wrong, he's like, I heard what you're talking about. Everybody loves me. These women love it when I touch them. Like, he needs to get the fuck out of fucking office. Like, I just don't get it. Like, this ain't going nowhere. It's not like Monday he's going to go to work and it's not going to be fucking huge. And then Tuesday, fucking Wednesday, Thursday, the rest of his time in office is going to be this. Like, and that's
how much time does he have left? Do we know?
No idea.
Well, they're already doing an impeachment inquiry. They're already doing an impeachment inquiry, and it's probably only getting sped up because of the Letitia James inquiry. I don't think that...
And Democrats don't need this right now, I think, is another reason they're going to speed it the fuck up as quick as possible. Be like, the midterms are coming. We need this gone. We need somebody else standing there.
I mean, that's facts. That's true. And also that, it is ammunition for the whole, Trump thing. That's the other thing about Madison Crawfish, is that he's a part of, have you seen this shit about what they're calling the Trump cabinet? There's some it's some bugged out shit.
Yeah.
He has, and feel free to, rejoin the conversation anytime, Silvery. Just because you're sitting there with your hair looking all fly doesn't mean you're not responsible for the speaking part. I noticed you went off screen and came back with a different fly-ass hairstyle. Just saying.
No, that's the same hairstyle.
Yo, I'm getting real Cuomo with this shit right now. Just trying to emphasize how power corrupts absolutely. But no, so Trump is supposedly meeting with a group that he is referring to as his cabinet, or at least Mark Meadows, former chief of staff, has referred to as his cabinet. Madison Crawfish is one of them that has been meeting with him. And, it's just kind of come out. People are like, yo, former presidents do not have a cabinet.
No. You
don't have cabinet meetings, and you do not have a chief of staff. This is really being put out there for... your kind of January 6th nuts. And
do other governments have cabinets? Is that a thing? Like, is it what? Just calling it a cabinet. Like, we have a group of secretaries. What should we call it? Cabinet. A cabinet.
Yeah, they have a bureau. They have a cabinet.
Okay, now bureau makes that's where I think they got it from. They're like, well, we have the bureau over here. You're like, well, we can call it the table. You're like, well, we already have a table in the middle of the room.
Nah, they were like, yo, a vestibule. What do you think? Can we have an armoire? Can we have like the presidential armoire?
Presidential trunk?
How much you want to bet? I know nothing about the French political system, but they probably do not have a cabinet. They have an armoire.
Armoire.
And I'm going to say Germany has a vestibule.
Yes. In Louisiana, they have a fainting couch.
The governor's fainting couch. Apparently in New York State, they got a goddamn fainting couch.
Fucking casting couch. That's fucking gross. And they got to clean Mario's, or what's his name? It's not Mario, it's Mario's son. Andrew. They got to clean his office. Jizz everywhere.
It would have been better if he had run as Super Mario Cuomo. Like, the son would just be Super Mario Cuomo.
Yeah.
Also, you getting John Blaze with these 8-bit sunglasses on in outer space is making me so jealous.
It's a good life. Good life I live. In outer space.
I wish
my glasses disappeared for a second there. That was weird.
I wish
they got real little.
The audience could see how you're living in these space.
Yeah.
How much time we got left?
It's about an hour right now, I think.
Are we at an hour?
I don't have a timer like I normally do. I had to look at my phone about 10 minutes in to be like, oh.
Okay. Well, just one. All right. Just because I'm Captain Good News all the time now, everybody knows Jerk brings the good vibes. You know what I mean? That's small about is good vibes.
Are you spreading the good news?
I mean, have you heard the good news? Adam Strange is in outer space.
Good news spreads.
It's true. Like the Delta. You know what I mean?
It did widespread panic. Okay, I'm not a fan. Never been a fan. But
No.
they were playing downtown this weekend, and I was like, okay, if your name's, first off, just call it Panic. You know, your fans will figure it out. You don't got to say Widespread right now. And second off, don't. You just stay home. You know what? You've done enough shows. You know, I know playing shows is fun. You're a band. That's what they do. You've done a lot.
The Spreadnecks were out in full force.
But they did have a testing tent, which I had never seen before when I was like 20 minutes late for work because those fuckers were like all over downtown everywhere and I couldn't get through downtown. But there was 2 tents of doing tests to get into the show. Never seen that.
Yeah, but I mean, you understand that, like, when the swabs come up with, like, you've tested positive for cocaine. Like, you know, cocaine 19 is what you tested positive for. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I heard they had to be vaccinated to get in, but was it one or the other, like a rapid negative or a vaccine card?
Proof, card or a test out front.
Oh, get out of here.
But I'm like, yeah.
These motherfuckers standing out there with a finger up waiting for the vaccine card miracle.
And it's cocaine 19 because it's really only 19% cocaine.
Who's got my miracle, bro? Yeah, they're like, sir, you've tested positive for the fentanyl cut. You're actually going to die a lot quicker than the COVID.
An article just came out this week about, San Diego police officer a couple weeks ago, or earlier in the month, the video just came out of him testing fentanyl, and then he passes out. He's on the ground shaking. And then they give him the nose Narcan spray, and he comes back to, and he's totally fine. Okay, these scientists came out and were like, "Hey, first off, fentanyl, it's not a brand new thing. You know, we've known about this. This is a drug. We've had this for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, it's mainly was used for surgery. Yeah,
touching it is not a thing that you don't just get it and fall down shaking like that. What's happening is your officers are having panic attacks because you keep telling them how dangerous it is." And that officer's symptoms were a perfect panic attack. And when he got the blast in his nose, it wasn't that helped him. It's that he thought it helped him. Because the officer's sitting there doing the test. And then the second the test goes the right color and he's like, oh, it's fentanyl. Then he falls down. It's like when he learned it was fentanyl, he fell down. And then he got right back up. And like the way that the shot hit him, he was like right back to normal, fine. And then they went to test him later and there was nothing in his system. So basically, a lot of the cops that fall down because they got sick off of touching fentanyl were actually having panic attacks and not sick from touching fentanyl. Even though you shouldn't touch fentanyl, it's most likely not going to kill you from an overdose within 2 minutes of touching it.
I mean, there's fentanyl patches, there's fentanyl in epidurals during child.
See, and it has to be set in a certain way to absorb into your skin rapid enough. And then they say, well, airborne. And it's like, well, it actually has to be like put in the air with a machine for like 5 minutes for you to inhale enough to actually have it affect you that way.
So you're saying
Do you think that's what the jet streams are behind the airplanes?
Oh, you mean fucking
the chemtrails are fentanyl.
Chemtrails are
that's
fentanyl? Oh man, I leave you froze like chemtrails in your nose. Or are you saying that the chemtrails are the vaccines and that fentanyl is the Pfizer? Oh my God, did we just blow your mind? Are we out of here on that note? Oh my God. Are you saying that shit happens psychosomatically?
Yes.
And we're all panicking right now. And that panic is in fact
widespread. Widespread anus.
Yeah, we're ending on that. Don't say shit. All right. On behalf of my girl, Silvery Plath, a.k.a. Yoni Berra, a.k.a. Woko Ono, a.k.a. hair's looking real good right now, a.k.a. Sammy Guns, a.k.a. Rhonda Morgan Betts, and my man Adam Strange, a.k.a. Whitey Bulger Cam, a.k.a. General Zone, a.k.a. Chevy Chafe, a.k.a. Chafe Guevara, a.k.a. Pizza Hat, a.k.a. Otter Spice. I am your host, the foul-mouthed jerk, MC Onion, the rapscallion, Punani DeFranco, the subwoofer drug pusher, the Boulevard Thunder God, known to the ladies as a named Sugar Cookie, the Archduke of Depeche Mode by Nuth Balloons, a.k.a. return of the Zoom Bap, aka Quentin Quarantino, aka COVID-24. I'm way out here and y'all can't catch me, aka A+ symptomatic. Yeah, you have been rocking with the worst official first Zoom episode. You can't stop us, no matter how many germs you psychosomatically infect us with. We are out here, and we are also, ironically, in jail. This is the worst case scenario, because 2 wrongs don't make it work. 2 wrongs don't make it right. I almost said it. 2 wrongs don't make it right, but 3 wrongs definitely make it worse. So we don't laugh just because you're looking all good.